Right. So, my name is Melanie Thompson, and I'm here to talk to you about life. Life, what's up with all this living? What's up with it? Oh my God. Why am I here to talk to you about life? I'm here to talk to you about life because I'm 46. And for the first 3 decades of my life, I spent it in pain, depression, fear, degradation, anger, sadness. It was not a pretty picture. And now, in this decade of my life, I've managed to turn all that shit into shine a little.
Is that the difference that you are dead now?
No. It did not involve anxiety. Thank you. Thank you. It did not involve life conforming to the way Melanie thinks it should conform either. It really didn't. And that's why I'm here to talk to you about life. What's it all about? And thank you. I love interactive connection. So you got some stuff to say, just friggin' say it, right? So honestly, I did not want to do a talk today, right? Greg called me up. He's like, hey man, let's do a talk. I'm like, no. No, because life has been lifing hard for me, right? I'm in my best decade ever, but that shit is hard. You know, like, love you, but I haven't been in my apartment for a long time, right? I'm working a job that I love doing, but I'm being underpaid. I've got a car that every time I get in it, I say, thank you, I love you, please don't break down today. You know, I'm going through perimenopause. My body is changing. I'm bleeding all the time on surprise. Everything is changing. Nothing is feeling stable. Nothing is feeling comfortable. Everything is feeling just why? And yet, this is the best decade ever. Why? Right? What has this all been about? So, now mind you, I didn't magically turn 40 or 46 and say, oh, I love this shit. No, that's not what it was. This has been a gradual process of all the experiences in my life, all the travails, all the triumphs, leading up to a place where I'm like, hey, I kind of have figured out what life's all about. Now, because I'm talking to you now about it, I'm probably something's gonna happen to be like, no, you forgot this, so it's gonna change. So we're just gonna ride this wave while it's still working. And the good thing is that this talk is to showcase who I am and what I do. So along with being a reader, a psychic reader, a medium, and a coach, I'm also a writer and podcaster. And in the pamphlets I've handed out, is a way for you to access and support, if you're so inclined, my writing. So it's predominantly free, but the real nitty-gritty stuff, you gotta pay for that. You don't get all that stuff for free. But the podcasts are free, and they're here to help us, and to help us realize we're not alone. So, what's life all about? So I'm gonna take a minute to let Spirit come in because I didn't want to do this talk. Life was happening, I woke up late. Like that type of late where you're like, no! I set, these phones, they're so awesome, but they give me way too many options, right? So I set the alarm for 9, but it wasn't set for 9 on Sunday. You know when that happens? And it's like something important you want to show up for, so yeah, it was one of those mornings. And so as I'm driving, and I'm not speeding, I'm just driving, looking at the and they're like, yeah, dude, we got this. And so by we is me, Melanie, her spirit guides, many of them of which she calls gods, all of them. And so I'm gonna give some time to let them come in and lead the rest of this talk. So, we've been with Melanie for a long, long time, and it's been just the past few years, towards the end of her 30s, around 39, when she's actually started to embrace being with us, to embrace cooperating, collaborating, and co-creating with us. That's actually part of her tagline with Enlightened Spirit, her meditation, psychic readings, mediumship, and coaching is to collaborate, co-create, and cooperate with the elements in your life, the matter, physical things in your life, and the energy in your life, so you can hashtag live enlightened and hashtag spiritual AF. Now, the reason why Melanie has learned that cooperation, collaboration, and co-creation is really where it's about is because she's realized that we do care about what happens in her life. And we made that covenant with her before she came down to this hurtling rock and embraced the meat suit, right? This decaying meat suit. She decided that she wanted to have a conscientious and conscious contact with powers greater than herself. Energy, right? Emotions, that's energy in motion, you know? So, all right, let's not try not to sound too esoteric, well, not moving anyway, but that's okay. So, what's life and what it's all about? Life is about having experiences. That's it. We can go. Enjoy the rest of your expo. With the theory of Earth School, the theory that we were somewhere else before we decided to come down as energy beings and assume these meat suits, the theory of Earth School is that there was something that said, yeah, coming down to Earth is really turning me on. This is gonna be my jam. I'm gonna come down here and do it, right? And so we decided to come down. Melanie, and she had some wisdom, came down and decided she was gonna be here on Earth and learn some shit, experience some shit. You know why? Because there were some things she wanted to know. There were some things she wanted to do. There were some people, there's some elements that she wanted to connect with. Why? Because energy loves being energy, right? Energy loves existing and using and collaborating, co-creating, and cooperating. Energy loves the flow. And so being in the Earth School, she did all her learning up there, loving that energy experience, but energy also gets a kick out of being energy inside a meat suit. Maybe it's for the sex. I mean, it could be I believe it is a very different experience of having sex as energy and having sex as matter. So maybe it was for the sex. Maybe it was the taste of food. Maybe it was for making connections with other matter-based beings. Maybe it was about using her energy to create something physical. But there was something that Melanie said, hey, I want to come down here to do this for. And we were all about it. Because we're all about giving experiences, allowing you to have experiences. And through those experiences, you are revealed. Thus, nothing happens to you, everything reveals you. My writing is about what has been revealed as a result of being this energy being, wearing a meat suit, bumping into other meat suits, and what it has revealed about me. And so, one of the most precious lessons that I have learned is that while being this energy body, by having these experiences, the goal is to learn how to love myself and then, as a result, love others. That's it. And how many of you have had these experiences in your life that directly affect how you feel about you? How you walk around the world? How you connect with other people? That's what experiences do. They reveal you. They shift you, right? And this, I share my experiences, right? So I'm driving, down speed, trying to get here, right? And all of a sudden, and I'm talking to them, I'm like, dudes, like, oh, I can't believe this is happening. Why is this happening? Like, why not? You know why this is happening. Because now you need the pain to get great enough to just make your alarm stable for every day. No more sleeping in on Sunday. You need your alarm for every day. And so that's a great thing about experiences, right? Is that when the pain gets great enough, you're ready to change, right? Look at that. It reveals my threshold for pain. It reveals what I'm willing and not willing to do to create change. But anyway, back to the experience. And please make sure you hold up that 5-minute timer because I will talk forever. So I'm driving. And we're talking about those experiences that shift how you operate in the world, right? And all of a sudden, I'm hit with a memory of being like a 3-year-old girl. Not 3, maybe like 5 or 6, because I was in like a school, like a camp sort of situation. And I wanted to play with these boys. I really just wanted these boys to like me. And so I go over to them and I play with them. And they start spitting Twizzlers at me and throwing sand. All right? And I'm crying. I'm upset. Why don't these boys like me? And because of what I've learned, you know, and kind of how they were behaving, I was like, it's because I'm black, right? So I go home and I go and I talk to my mother and I tell her, you know, what happened. And she, I love her. I love her, bless her heart. But she's a product of her time. And she's like, stay away from boys like that. Don't go near them. You shouldn't be there anyway. And she promptly plucked me out of that camp, right? And so, from that experience, I learned fear. From that experience, I learned that I'm not supposed to mix with everybody. From that experience, I learned that people will not like me just because, even when they don't know me, right? That affected how I lived decades later, right? Now, the problem is, as human beings, is that we are constantly on the defensive. We are constantly trying to protect what we have so we don't lose it, so it's not taken away, right? And so my mother, being a product of her time, my father being a product of their time, they just wanted to protect me. They just wanted to make sure that I wasn't taken away from them. They weren't going to lose me. But they didn't know that their lessons in protection were actually causing me to lose me. Because there is another perspective to that whole scenario. There's another way to reorient myself to those people, reorient myself to that situation, reorient myself to myself in the world. And hindsight, we say, is 20/20, and it's a pain in the ass. But you know, in hindsight, we're kids. Kids are assholes. Keep it moving. Find some kids that aren't assholes, Melanie. People like you because you're you. That's it. Right? That's what I could have learned from that experience. Right? But I didn't. And the subsequent decades of my life, I've been battling, or I've been able to see how I learned some things and I didn't learn some things. Right? And now that I'm learning these things, I can't go back and change them, but I can break some cycles with, not my children, because I choose not to have children, but I can break the cycles with the children that I love. I can break the cycles with the adults that I interact with. I can break the cycles all over the place. Especially I can break the cycles for myself. So, with life being the playground to have experiences, right? Part of the way we co-create, cooperate, and collaborate with all of the energy that's swirling around is to change our perspective. That's what my writing's about. It's about the experience. It's about the change my perspective has taken and how it has propelled me into the best decade ever, you know? And so I have had loads of experiences, many of them horrible, but I know for a fact that it started with a change of perspective. Now, a change of perspective is not, oh, I'm thinking new shit. No. A change of perspective that is sustainable is, I am doing new shit. Right? You cannot think yourself into being a different person. You can can only act yourself into being a different person. You move your body, your mind will follow. But because this lump is so loud and on top, it thinks it's all right. But the wisdom, the power is in our bodies. How many of us hang out with people we don't like, but we kind of feel we should, right? This part is wrong. Your body has been telling you all the time, like when you leave, you're like, oh God, I hate them. Or you're like, geez, this is so uncomfortable. Your body's been telling you all along, right? So the perspective is now is that when we want to collaborate, cooperate, co-create with the energies to create the life we really truly want, right? That we have to take all that energy from our heads and bring it back down into our bodies and heat it. Heat our bodies. Because the body is keeping score. Best decade of my life and my body is tallying up those points. I don't know why I didn't think of it, but I wasn't sleeping on my grounding mat for a long time. And my body kept score, and I'm aching and paining. And I finally brought my grounding mat to the bed I'm sleeping on now, right? And now I'm starting to feel better. The body keeps score. When I'm working at a job, although I love what I know it's actually costing me money to be there, and I'm feeling sick and I'm tired, and I'm waking up and I'm in like high alert and I'm fearful about how I'm gonna pay for dinner and how I'm gonna buy lunch and maybe I shouldn't eat dinner or eat lunch or, you know, my body is keeping score. It's contracting. It's making me uncomfortable. It's making me ill at ease, dis-ease, right? So, life is about having experiences. We are in this experience of changing our perspective by doing different shit. We're in the experience of what? Realizing our bandwidth, right? Okay, that word bandwidth I think is the most fabulous word that came out of COVID. There's a lot of words that came out of COVID. Bandwidth is another one, right? Bandwidth. What are you going to put your energy towards? And what don't you want your energy towards, right? So there's a theory, the theory of attraction, that like attracts like, right? So when you are looking for problems, what do you think you're going to find? You're not going to find fucking rainbows. No, you're going to find problems. So if we are co-creating, collaborating, cooperating with the energies, then maybe we should be very conscientious about the energy we are extending to the things that are happening in our lives, our world, right? How much can your mind handle? I'm sorry, my mind can't handle Epstein files and war. I'm sorry, I can't. My body is keeping score. So I'm watching, but I'm conscientiously diverting my energy to the things that, number one, affect me directly, and the things that help me be happy, joyous, and free, because that's when I'm purposeful, and that's when I can do the most good. And when I'm happy, joyous, free, and purposeful, then I can affect all those other things, but not until I am this. And so, okay, looks like I have a little more time. So, another wonderful thing they taught me, right, in this experience lab, is that selfish is a word that governments and religion gave to you to make you a slave. Then I know a little bit about slavery. So, that was not a slave joke. It might be a little inappropriate, but, you know, it's okay. I'm allowed. This is my experiment. So, capitalism, yeah, I don't want to get on another thing, but there are systems in society that thrive on people being disenfranchised, right? Right? So, why would we want people to think for themselves and do for themselves? We want people to think and do for the collective, right? Because the collective works really, really, really hard, but then the tippy top of the collective gets all the benefit. Excuse me. In most cases, in a lot of cases. So that word selfish, it's time to maybe change your perspective if you want about it. sometimes it's hard for me to change the connotation of a word just because I want it to be different. So there's an article, there's a post about self-investment rather than self-care, right? Because selfish, oh, you're being selfish, do some self-care, you gotta care about yourself. No, self-investment, right? If we're going to be a part of the collective, we need to invest in the part of the collective that is actually functioning, right? And so, when you think about what selfish means for you and how it shows up in your daily life, you may start to realize that it means putting yourself below somebody else. Doing things to make yourself uncomfortable because you probably should, you know? And the Experience Lab has taught me that I have to invest in myself because that is the only way I'm going to be purposeful, and that's the only way I'm going to evoke change in the world around me. Excuse me. And then these guys, my posse, in a moment of the darkness of the spirit, right? It was actually before I decided to become a psychic medium, actually write and put it out there. I had asked them, what I should do with myself. I had actually raged and said, "What the actual? I can't handle this! Why do you have me here?" Oh yeah, that was a dark time. And so I asked them, and they told me, use your talents, use your gifts, use your treasures. And I was like, really? Really? Well, how am I supposed to do that when I'm broke? How can I do that when I'm supposed to be married and have a husband? How am I supposed to do this and do that? And they're like, we are invested in you. We are guiding you. We are protecting you. We are loving all up and down on you, right? And when you hear me, if you're reading, you'll hear me say these words over and over again. And then they said, we are invested. We know that the way you function requires for you to be supported, fed, warm, and loved. And we are invested in bringing that to you. And we are so huge that we're invested in bringing that to everyone. And so when we change our perspective and we take that in as our truth, then we start behaving that way. We start fucking around and finding out, right? We're a little bit more ready to experiment, to be curious. Why? Because there is something out there that actually cares about whether or not we're safe, we're loved, we're protected, we're guided, and that we're not screwing up everybody else because we're screwed up inside. And it's kind of, really brilliant, right? They want us to be good so we don't screw up everybody else or to feel good. There's a post about choosing your delusion. Elizabeth Gilbert, writer of Eat, Pray, Love, she's a genius. She almost made me stop writing because it was like, oh my God, she said everything. I have nothing else to say. But then they were like, there's room for all of you. She said to choose your delusion. And in this Experience Lab, we are all under a delusion. The problem is we didn't realize we had a choice of which delusion to choose. All right, let's keep it basic. We can choose the delusion of isolation. We can choose the delusion of capitalism. We can choose the delusion of our race, our gender. Or we can choose a different delusion, right? And we call it delusion because that's how we like to categorize things that are just for us. And we don't get validation from those around us. So it must be a delusion. But if we're all living and activating under delusion, then why not make it one that actually serves you? That actually makes you feel happy, joyous, and free, and purposeful. What actually teaches you and allows you and encourages you to love yourself. Thus completing the assignment of being here and having experiences, right? So, I know this is all very effervescent and brilliant and all that stuff. Brilliant. But what about the stuff that really sucks, right? Assault. I've been assaulted. What about things that lead you to degradation and fear death. Those are experiences we signed up for too. Those are experiences that we are to have to learn how to love ourselves in spite of and because of those experiences. And being someone who's experienced assault, that's kind of hard to do, right? But there was something about coming here to this earth that I said I wanted to be more than just that experience that happened to me. And I wanted to help others learn to be more than their experiences that are happening with them. These experiences are happening for us, not to us. And that is a delusion I invite you to consider, right? Maybe even adopt. There's divorce, there's injury, there's illness, and there's addiction. You know, I'm definitely not a stranger to that. And all of it has taught me not just so much what I should do, but what I shouldn't do, and what I can't afford to do. All of it has taught me and shown me where my level of willingness really truly is, because my brain wants to tell me that I'm somewhere that I'm not really, right? Because my body is saying something different, my actions are saying something different, right? So when you find yourself #failing, no, you're actually #winning. Because let me tell you something, success is not born on everything going right. Success is born by failing and failing again and failing again and failing again. Success is born by getting the fuck up and doing it and facing it again and again and again. Why? Because you're learning, you're completing the assignment, you are growing, you are following the instructions that were given down to us to be here on this earth. And you are connecting, you are reaching out, you are shifting. But there's this other one big problem that we face is that we don't want to change, right? You don't have to change. But if you want something different, you're going to have to. So we also live in a society, and I talk about this too, it's all the stuff I talk about in my writing, where change has somehow been weaponized to make us wrong, bad, stupid, incapable, right? And change is none of those things. Change is a promise. You will always experience change just like you always will experience growth. Do you know you get a new skeleton every 10 years? Yeah. Change is inevitable. Suffering is an option. So when you find yourself suffering as a result of holding on to to the desire to not change, when you say, I'm not going to cooperate, I'm not going to collaborate, I'm not going to co-create the way you think I should because that means changing my mind, changing my behaviors, and saying I might be wrong, or maybe I was misguided, then you're signing up for suffering. Every single one of us, if we want to go with the flow, collaborate, co-create, and cooperate, we have to embrace change. Not just in our outside worlds, in our inner worlds. Today I am on fire about this shit. And tomorrow I might change and I might be like, yo, go hide in the cave. Most likely that won't happen. But I'm allowed to change. I need to change. It's important that I change, right? Because all those changes lead up to that end of this time in this meat suit, right? Because that's kind of like that graduation course, where you look back at your life and you say, hey, how did I really show up? And do I like that? Did that bring me joy? How did I meet challenges? How did I interact with those around me? And the fact of the matter is that ain't nobody gonna be with you at that point, except for what you believed. You and your thoughts at the bitter end. So how do you want them to show up? So being someone who is familiar with addiction and working a program, there's a step, it's called the 9th step, where you go and you say, you make amends. Many people think it's, I'm sorry I was an asshole, I'm sorry I was a jerk, I'm sorry I was an idiot, right? And that's not what amends means. Amend means to change, right? And so, I've been living my life so I don't have to add more people to my 9-step list. I don't want to have to hurt people and feel like, I was an asshole, I'm sorry. I have changed my behaviors, so in the end, I don't have to make too many more amends, right? Because that's kind of a sucky place sometimes. It's a great thing, it's perfect, but I can do without it, you know? So, how have I changed my life? How have I amended my life? So I don't have to make an apology to Melanie, the life force that is Melanie, when it comes down to the end. That's why I'm doing all this. I'm really concerned and really interested in the hereafter, which is a banger, by the way. The hereafter is radiant. And I'm going to learn more keys to the kingdom up there because I've learned a lot of them down here. They don't take you back to kindergarten. You start off in grad school. The more you learn here, the more you get to learn up there. Because Spirit will always meet you where your consciousness is. It's not going to blow open your mind and be like, what should I do next? No. It'll blow open your mind in a gentle way because you've already put some things in place to manage it. That's that loving, caring, protective, guiding spirit that I'm talking about. The universe. Science. That isn't taking you personally, it just freaking is, you know? That's God, that's Jesus, that's Buddha, that's Satan, that's Allah, that's Pele, that's Kali. That's whoever you want to call on to, or whatever thing you want to hold on to, or whatever life force that you feel is supporting you. It doesn't matter what you call it, that's a human thing. Names are human things. For all I know, I'm really known as you know? So, how much time do I have left? Anybody got a time check? I don't do
9 minutes.
Huh?
You have plenty of time.
Plenty of time. 2:34. Well, this goes to 2:45. What else? Okay, if you have any questions or concerns, please bring them up.
What do you think about the soul coming back in different forms?
Okay, so this is the deal, right?
As you said, it go up, but
Yeah.
But does it come back in different form, or what do you think?
We get a choice. We get a choice. Yeah.
Or the universe has that choice.
We get the
We
choice.
have control over what is also.
No, we don't have control over the universe, but we have control of the energy force. That's us.
So you have control.
think
Does
that
your
that's-
soul go up to come back, or you don't?
You do.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You believe that?
I do believe that. I actually believe it all the way to my bones. Why? Why do I believe that? Because I also don't believe up there is as narrow and as punishing and as, screw turning as this place has been. You know?
So I believe it come back, but I don't believe I have control if it will come back or not.
There we go.
I believe
that's
it
great
is
for you.
coming back.
That's great for you. I do believe we have a choice. I believe that because they've emboldened us with this ability to be unique forms of energy, we are allowed to actually be that unique form of energy. And that means, it may not be choice in the way that we consider choice as humans, but I do believe we have the choice, right? Do you want to be part of the flowing river? Do you want to be an atom of water? Do you want to be a bird? Do you want to be a dung beetle? But I do believe that it is based off of what we've learned. And like I said, I wonder, this keeps me up at night, I'm wondering, what the hell turned me on about this place that made me decide to come down here? And there is a piece in my soul that is like, you wanted to create change, Melanie. You wanted to be big. You wanted to create laughter. I actually like being funny. You wanted to you. That's all the stuff I wanted to do. And that interested you a lot. You wanted to find other people to do that with too. You wanted to dance. That's why I majored in dance. Don't do that. You know, and that was part of the stuff that turned me on about coming down here. You wanted to find deep, deep connection. And interesting enough, I lived a life where I was deeply disconnected. Deeply disconnected to then find deep connection. Right? And so, my writing, my talks, are all based off of my lived experiences. And I share them because maybe there's something that I've experienced that you can identify or notice within yourself. And so maybe some of the stuff I say can help you. Maybe it's not helpful. It's okay. It is really all about you as an individual, right? And so when they talk about detaching with love, when they talk about examining our codependency or, you know, just really being a solid human, we really have to learn to mind our own businesses. I'm a psychic, but I'm not a mind reader. Nope. And I don't even tell the future. I just give you suggestions about what you need to do for your future, right? But sometimes we really truly believe we know what someone is thinking. And then we let that affect our actions, right? I can tell you one thing, we are all plagued by 1,000 different forms of fear. And so, if we are all besotted with this disease, we can 9 times out of 10 know that if someone is colliding with us in a way that feels uncomfortable, fear is present. And so my delusion with fear is that I'm choosing to see people's fear and then let them have it. Let them have it and then not assume it for myself. To then maybe be the change they want to see, or the change that I want to see, or the change I want to be, right? Maybe I create a different experience for that person, maybe I don't. It's not my job. I'm creating a different experience for me. And so when we're in this world and we're taking in, we're absorbing all this fear, absorbing all this doubt, absorbing all this depression, we have to remember we get to choose. The most powerful energy we have is the ability to choose. So, what are you choosing? Is choices indicative of your behaviors, right? Not just your thoughts, your behaviors, the people you're around, the things that you're doing, the things that you're not doing. And so many times when I'm working with people, identifying where you're choosing and what you're choosing is the first way you can begin to co-create, collaborate, and cooperate to create the life you really want to live. So, I just got the 5 minutes. Almost time to hook me out. But I didn't really prepare for this. I got really nervous the last time I spoke. And I kind of just said, hey, we're just going to go balls to the wall with how you feel and what you're doing. Because it's really about letting people know they're not alone, to provide a handrail, some guardrails, as we navigate this burning rock, you know? And to let people know that if you don't believe in yourself, I believe in you. Not just because you're right there in this, you know. That's usually the easiest pathway to belief. But I believe in you. I believe that you will get to a point where you are unwilling to accept some really unacceptable shit. I believe that you are now at the point to choose you before anybody else. I believe that you are willing to entertain, consider change. And I believe that you will indeed live a radiant, radiant life and continue to be spiritual AF. So, that's it. I'm done. Get out of here. So, you can connect with me over there. I've got the booth that's got a lace tablecloth for readings. Also, Greg wanted me to mention this. Please consider, I'm like, to say it for myself, I'm putting me first, donating to me. No, donating to the Awaken Center. I think there are little bins out here where you can put money in. As you know, things are changing for Awaken, the Expo, and the work that we do, and we want to continue it, and unfortunately that takes money and volunteers. So not that unfortunately volunteers. Unfortunately, that's a money thing too. So if you can, please give. If not, still show up, share, and like if you do like all the stuff that you're getting, because it is all our jobs to share our experiences. Who knows who it's going to hit? Just be a farmer. Throw those seeds out there and see what grows. So thanks again for sharing your time with me today.